What did we learn on Thursday Night Football? Well, I watched the whole thing and I wrote some notes, and so did Stickman. So let's go through them. At the start of the game, the first couple plays, it was pretty apparent that Sean Payton was getting more out of this offense than he was supposed to. He was getting Taysom Hill on some bootlegs. It looked solid. And early in the game, CD was getting lots of double teams, lots of extra help. He wasn't getting the ball much. I believe Michael Gallup was going early. Taysom Hill was throwing on the run a lot, decently accurately, but late in the game that didn't work out. Uh, the CD clone, number 85, I don't even know his name. He was getting a lot of targets early. CD wasn't involved much early, but he was making big plays when he was getting opportunity. Later in the game, he got absolutely fed, as you'll see. Um, Dak missed CD on a pretty big touchdown. It was like 4th and 8, and he threw it behind him. I mean, Dak didn't make an awful throw, but if that's on the spot, that's like a 50-yard touchdown, which has happened like it feels like 5 times to CD this year where he's lost a big touchdown because Dak misplaced the ball. So that fucking is weird. Michael Gallup had a bunch of cool catches. He had one in the corner of the end zone that was crazy, a toe tap. He was big on that. I believe he had 8 targets, a touchdown. He had a very, very, very nice game, and he was just making plays all over the field. And this offense was so much clearly better when they were throwing the ball and playing with pace, but they kept running Zeke. I believe he had 8 carries for 16 yards. It was very frustrating to watch. But I mean, there's that. Um, the second down runs, like that turn into like 3rd and 8. I don't get it. You have Amari CD and Michael Gallup, then they were throwing, and as they started to throw more, you'll see the game turns in their favor. Once again, I had another note. Gallup made 2 great catches. He was incredible. Dak played very, very, very well in the 2-minute drill. But I mean, throughout the game, he wasn't incredible. I mean, he was throwing accurately like underneath, but he missed a couple throws, and he wasn't particularly efficient. So I mean, it was a decent real life game for Dak, but in fantasy he kind of had a dud. Lamb is a nightmare after the catch. I mean, he was getting schemed up touch passes, even carries, screens. He had a screen that he took for like 30 yards that shouldn't have even been a 1 yard gain. I mean, he's just a nightmare after the tackle, and a stickman says if Amari leaves, Lamb could be a late first rounder. Last year, he's only on pace for 107 targets this year, and he's still going to be a fringe wide receiver one. So he's going to be a stud if he leaves. Stickman also says, and once again, I mean this is a common theme throughout every game ever. Pollard looks incredible, and Stick says he's a big buy in dynasty because it's almost hard to overpay because he's been that good. And Stick also says that Traquan Smith continues the safe volume from the past several weeks, living in the 6 to 8 target range, and Taysom Hill is better for him than Trevor Siemian. Speaking of Taysom Hill, this man was unstoppable one drive. Basically like in a wildcat, just like on drop plays. He probably had 70 rushing yards this game. He had a crazy run where he broke a tackle and hurdled a guy. He's a very, very, very impressive athlete, and throwing deep he's impressive as well. But he didn't get anything underneath today. If his first read was there, I mean he had good arm strength, but if his first read wasn't there, that was like a deep to intermediate throw. He didn't have the finesse to squeeze it in underneath. Yeah, if you took away his first read, and you contain him in the pocket, Taysom Hill was all but he was very, very, very ineffective. And Taysom Hill, much like Lamar Jackson, who I mean, we're not calling them clones, but like they have a similar play style. If you're playing, if Lamar Jackson is playing in a tie game or with a lead, he's good. And Taysom Hill looks very solid through 3 quarters of this game. But then in the fourth quarter, when he was forced to pass, it was just ugly. He ended the game with 4 picks despite playing well for 2.5, 3 quarters of it. And when he was forced to pass, it was essentially game over. So yeah, I mean, there's that. Uh, Takeaways. Traquan Smith is the only Saint that is startable. I mean, Mark Ingram could be playable, but like this offense is not good enough without Kamara for him to do much damage. I mean, you could start him because he was getting work out there a majority of it, and he, I mean, he looked decent on a couple of runs, so there's that. But CD Lamb is an absolute stud. He had 13 targets, touch passes, runs, kick returns. He is very, very hard to tackle in the open field, and he made a couple of great catches. He's a stud. If Amari Cooper is going to continue to be limited. Michael Gallup will be viable because he got the jump ball in the end zone that he caught. He was making plays all night, 8 targets. He's going to be viable. Even if Amari's healthy, I mean, you could do worse than Gallup as a wide receiver 3. And, I mean, as for Amari, he was very limited and not used much, but when he was called upon, he was making good plays. So, I mean, keep playing him because you can't sit that upside. As for Dak, it's pretty concerning. He hasn't been playing well lately. He only puts up 11 points here. You can't really sit him because he threw almost 40 times, and you got to think that his efficiency gets better. But I mean, if you have other viable options, I would definitely look to them because Dak just isn't throwing up touchdowns and getting into these big shootout game scripts to put up these robust numbers that we're used to with him. It seems like Pollard's busting off a big play every game now to lower the ceiling, and they went to more play a conservative, control the clock style of football. So yeah, there's that. There's the Thursday night football takeaways. I hope you learned something from the game because I watched all of it and put it down in 5 minutes. So there you go. Listen to this tape though; it just dropped like an hour ago. It's pretty great.